We got Caitlin Clark fans today dragging the Indiana Fever social media and the team through the mud. Look, I mean, they're angry because they saw this coming. They're mad because they saw it coming. I find it laughable sometimes when you're like, when you're voicing your opinion and people are like, yeah, Stephanie White knows more than these people are talking about. I'm like, really? Because
the fallout from Indiana Fever's home opener loss to the Dallas Wings continued to build online, with Caitlin Clark's fan base taking to social media to express frustration with the team's performance and organizational direction. The Fever's own post-game social media update became a flashpoint, drawing nearly 400 comments against roughly 1,600 likes. A comment-to-like ratio that made clear just how unhappy the response was. The criticism pointed in several directions at once. Fans questioned the roster construction, the coaching decisions, and the team's defensive output. Many zeroed in on Stephanie White, calling for her removal and arguing that the defensive identity she was supposed to bring hasn't materialized.
Some of these people watching this has been watching and consuming basketball for 40 or 50 years. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? Because I'm not so sure about that, to be honest. One thing I don't think I stressed enough in my reaction video yesterday is the second team, the second unit, the bench is not good. It's not. I said yesterday.
A widely shared clip from the final minute of the game showed White appearing to ask someone on the bench what play Dallas might run, a moment that observers read as a sign that she was caught off guard rather than operating from a prepared game plan. The clip spread quickly and became one of the most discussed pieces of footage from the entire night. Several fans raised specific tactical complaints. Aaliyah Boston finished with only 4 rebounds, a number considered well below her standard. Others noted that screens were rarely set for Clark despite her being physically contested throughout the game, and that the bench unit looked overmatched when called upon.
I watched the Liberty play the other day. The game had gotten so far away, they had their second unit. Their second unit would beat the living shit out of our second unit. They'll run us out of the building. If we're not careful, they will run us out of the building. We have a lack of length, too many guards on this, all the stuff that people were, oh, you're bitching. Oh, my God, you're bitching. All that stuff was on display yesterday.
The Liberty's second unit was invoked as a comparison, a squad that many felt would handle the Fever's reserves without much difficulty. The lack of length on the roster and an overloaded guard rotation, both issues that had been raised during the offseason, were pointed to as problems that showed up on the court exactly as anticipated. Clark's own performance drew mixed readings. Some fans saw a player who looked sluggish and disconnected for most of the game before finding her footing in the third quarter. Others pushed back on that assessment and directed blame at the system around her.
Before we get to the reaction from fans, let me go over. My boy Venom reacts. I had not seen this. That Stephanie White in the final minute against the Dallas Wings was asking for help because she didn't know what play you think they're going to run. No wonder you lit the Vanderbilt program on flames. Just burn it to the ground.
The foul trouble, she accumulated 4 fouls, 3 of them offensive, by the early fourth quarter kept her off the floor at a pivotal point and limited what she could do down the stretch. There was also some internal friction within the fan base itself, with a portion of Fever supporters turning critical of Clark specifically, while others defended her and placed accountability elsewhere. That dynamic added another layer to what was already a charged environment. The broader sentiment was that one loss to a team that won 10 games the previous season, at home, with this level of dysfunction on display, wasn't a one-game outlier to be brushed aside. 43 games remain, and the pressure on the coaching staff and front office to show visible improvement is already building.
My boy Venom, I'm showing this. Go subscribe. This reaction, and I saw this late last night. His reaction is all you need to know.
Make sure they deny. What do you think they're going to run here?
Game first season opener ever in the history of this league.
And I want to know who she's talking to. Bree January is on the right side right here drinking. Who could she have been asking this question to?
Where both teams have scored 100 points. Let's listen into
The question being asked around Indiana Fever basketball is not whether Stephanie White is a competent coach. She clearly is. The real question is whether her coaching philosophy is compatible with what Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston are capable of producing at their best. Consider what nearly happened in the season opener against Dallas. Clark had 2 3-point attempts that came within a fraction of going in. Had they dropped, the final line would have read 26 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, a Fever win.
to the huddles.
So make sure we deny. What do you think they're going to run here?
This is a look of a coach that has zero idea what she's doing. This is the look of a coach that has zero idea what she's literally in the heat of the moment when adversity is adversitying the most, if that's even a word.
Speaking with those voices or engaging with opposing team ownership through public channels sends a signal the organization's supporters find baffling and tone-deaf. The deeper basketball argument centers on White's identity as what could be described as a reactive coach. She is exceptional at studying opponents, identifying weaknesses, and constructing specific tactical plans to exploit them. This approach makes her extremely dangerous when coaching an underdog. She has demonstrated the ability to take a below-average team and knock off an opponent with a far superior record. That skill is real and proven.
And she's looking. All players' eyes on her, looking for her for the answer. And she's looking around. What do you think they're going to run here?
I'll stop it right there. When he just took the headset off and the glasses off, I was like, "Oh snap, we're crashing out. We're full on crashing out." Go subscribe to his channel. God, I was like,
But that does not diminish its value. The same logic applies to every elite offensive action in basketball at every level. When Clark operates that action, the coverage choices available to the defense create advantages regardless. If the defender steps under the screen, Clark pulls up because she can now hit that shot. If the defense drops, Boston pops to the perimeter and converts the three. If they hedge, Boston short rolls and attacks off the dribble. She has developed into one of the quicker big players in the league.
I had not seen that, folks. I'm not gonna lie. And I watched this video late last night and was like, "Wait, what?" I'd have brought that up during my video yesterday had I known it. I got to tell you, I was having a conversation behind the scenes and we were talking about automatic wins. The only automatic wins we could think of behind the scenes in a conversation.
If they collapse on Boston, she kicks to Mitchell. The geometry is overwhelming, yet the Fever ran that action only a handful of times in the opener. The downstream effect of abandoning it was visible across the lineup. Mitchell saw fewer open rhythm threes.
Like, there are a list of people that if you are a member of the Indiana Fever, you should not be speaking to. Renee Montgomery is one of them. Cheryl Swoops, Renee Montgomery, Cindy Bronson. Like, these people that have gone and basically gone out of their way to go after your player, and a lot of the people that are bringing the revenue to your team. And people are being like, "Oh, they're just talking about."
Hall and Cunningham barely attempted open looks from the perimeter. The shot generation that flows naturally from Clark and Boston operating in concert simply dried up because the system pulled away from it in an attempt to prevent opponents from preparing for it. This is the paradox. By trying to stay unpredictable, White has guided her players into territory where they are operating below their natural ceiling. Every defense in the league is aware of every set Indiana runs regardless.
And people are being like, "Oh, they're just talking about they're not talking about all fans, just the bad ones." No, she was talking about all of them. Renee Montgomery, and first of all, you should not be going online talking to an owner for another team. That's not something that should be happening. But there are a list of people that, like, if you're a Fever, and by the way, it works in the opposite way. Like, you don't want to talk to Jason Whitlock if you're a member of the Fever. You don't want to go talking to, like, any overly, unless it's literal team media, anyone, like, overly on Caitlin's side or making content about Caitlin.
The advantage Clark provides is not that opponents do not know what is coming. It is that what is coming is difficult to stop even with full preparation. The broader impact on Clark's game is more troubling than any single statistical line. Her defining quality has always been instinct, an ability to read a game in real time, manufacture advantages that never appeared scripted, and pull teammates into moments that no box score column can fully capture. In 2024, she could finish a game with 14 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds and leave observers with the unmistakable impression that she had controlled everything. The numbers were secondary to the gravitational effect she had on every possession.
In media, anyone like overly on Caitlin's side or making content about Caitlin, you don't want to go talk to myself. Like, it doesn't work like that. This is first problem I have with it, but let's take a listen to what Steph White says. And I'm going to give my opinion on this, and I need to preface this by saying Stephanie White's a really good basketball coach. Really good. But
Austin and unrivaled even coming into this, and she is such a powerhouse that I think, like, I know she's going to be happy to have Caitlin back because that was one of the high targets in the league.
That quality appears to have been systematically reduced. Clark's current impact can now essentially be predicted from the stat sheet, a development that would have been unthinkable a year ago. Her game has become dependent on whether shots go in or not, which was never the foundation of what made her exceptional. There was a stretch best illustrated by a 27-2 run against the Phoenix Mercury, where she scored or assisted on 24 of those points, where she shot 4 of 1-4 from the field and still left Nate Tibbetts acknowledging he could not figure out how to slow her down. Diana Taurasi was visibly impressed.
I know she's going to be happy to have Caitlin back because that was one of the high targets in the league of that two-man game. So what does that look like now? Even Raven moving Caitlin off the ball, having a two-man game with Aaliyah Boston, like, you have a lot of weapons, and people sometimes don't realize, like, that's when, like, the coaches now, it's your job to mesh that whole thing together and make it work.
Yeah, I think creating space for C and AB to do what they do in the two-man game, you probably aren't going to see it necessarily on the first side of the floor anymore. Everybody's game plan is ready for that. I think playing.
The shooting efficiency was irrelevant. There is no version of White's current system where a 4 of 1-4 shooting night still constitutes a dominant performance. The current
Everybody's game plan is ready for that. I think playing.
that's basically what I got to. Everyone's game plan is for the pick and roll, so we're not running the pick and roll. That is the Steph White. Everyone wants to full court press Caitlin, so we're going to make her give the ball up. Like, Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark gets full court press, she creates an advantage. And there are situations she should give the ball up. If Ryan Howard is picking her up. If Paige Beckers is picking her up, Caitlin Clark just needs to go, meep, meep, and run in a layup.
When she plays through the offense rather than as a target within it, the entire structure opens up. When the system asks the ball to find her rather than flow through her, the creative advantages she provides begin to disappear. Stephanie White is likely to find head coaching work immediately if she ever departs Indiana. Multiple franchises would pursue her. The concern is not her ability in isolation. The concern is that her coaching framework and the specific players she is working with may be pulling in fundamentally different directions.
Run in a layup. If AZ Foot's picking her up, there's a reason why I didn't pick her up full court. But this is a huge problem, and this is what the problem I have with Stephanie White. Stephanie White, I tweeted out. Stephanie White is not insane, saying, "Oh well, they prepared for us, so we're not going to run it." There are different coaching philosophies. There are absolutely different coaching philosophies, and she is a reactive coach. You can be a proactive coach. You can be a reactive coach. A proactive coach, a Mike D'Antoni.
Playing well within a bad fit and being placed in positions to thrive are two entirely different things. And exceptional players can produce despite poor fits, which makes the underlying misalignment harder to detect and easier to explain away. The Fever front office faces a genuine dilemma at season's end if results do not reflect the roster's potential. Firing White would be the most straightforward lever to pull. But the organization has also demonstrated a capacity for unconventional decision-making, and the possibility that they make a different kind of disruptive move, however unlikely, cannot be fully dismissed.
Active coach. A proactive coach, a Mike D'Antoni, a Steve Kerr, I'm just trying to get off the top of my head, even in the a Cheryl Reeve, a Carl Smesco, a Nate Tibbetts. On the offensive end, Nate Tibbetts is very reactionary. Nate Tibbetts just throws 75 different defenses at you, but he's doing that to impose his game on you. There are proactive and there are reactive coaches. What can a proactive coach do? A proactive coach can take a really good team and send them over the top, can get them playing well. A reactive coach, if you have the best team in the league, can only bring them down. I don't believe the Fever are the best team in the league. But if you do believe the Fever are the best team in the league, a reactive coach can only bring them down. You need a proactive coach. You need a coach that is basically says, we're the best team in the league, we're going to play our game, they're going to have to deal with it. And not, well, our opponents are going to do this, so they're expecting us to do this, we're going to do something different. Or